In this week's review we're going to take a look at Arctic Thunder, a racing game that was developed and published by Midway Games and released on the PS2 and Xbox in September of 2001. But before we get started, I just wanted to say that if you like this video, please do hit the like button as it really does help the channel. If you're looking for more videos like this, then hit the subscribe button, and if you've played this game yourself, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so comment down below. Now let's move on to the review. So this is probably going to be a shorter video than usual because Arctic Thunder is kind of a shallow game. Normally I'd start things off by talking about a game's story, but in the case of this racer, there isn't a narrative for me to talk about. This is of course perfectly understandable, as Arctic Thunder was originally released in the arcades a year before its console debut, so if you've ever played a racing game in the arcade, then you know what to expect here. It is almost a direct port of the arcade version, and while it doesn't like Midway try to add some extra modes and features, like a mode where you can upgrade your racer of choice, for the most part it plays like a game that would normally cost you 50p a try back in the day. Anyway, let's get down to business and answer the two questions that you came to this video for. One, is the game fun? And two, should you seek out and buy a copy? My answer to question one, absolutely 100% yes. My answer to question two, no. I should probably explain. So here's the thing. Back in 2001, Arctic Thunder got some pretty poor reviews, and I can sort of see why. In a lot of ways it does feel quite basic. The gameplay is very simple: race against others through snowy tracks, try to reach the checkpoints before the time runs out, and cross your fingers that you end up in first place. It's straight point A to point B racing too, no laps, so the races are all quite short, and you could probably see everything in the game in less than an hour, providing you finish high enough to unlock the later tracks. And I'm not sure if this game was sold at full price back in the day, but if it was, it certainly wasn't worth the price of admission. I randomly came across this game in a CEX and saw it was just under £2 and picked it up just because, and that's how I think everybody should discover this game. And the reason for that is that Arctic Thunder isn't a great game, but it is a fun one. It is simple, crazy arcade mayhem. You just hold down the X or A button and you go. There might be a button to slow down, I'm not sure because I never used it. I was too busy flying through each track at such a pace that it almost made it impossible to keep up with what was going on the screen. The good thing is, this doesn't matter because Midway decided that you shouldn't be able to crash or fall off the track and that you should always be moving. Sure, you can get hit by a power-up from an enemy and fall off your snowmobile, but even when that does happen, they warp you straight back into the middle of the action. Why do they do this? Because it's more fun, that's why. I feel like that was the whole mantra for this game during its development. A bunch of people sat in an office somewhere constantly saying stuff like, yeah, we could make the racing more complex, but people just want to go fast, so let's focus on that. In my usual review format, I would discuss the highs and lows of a game's presentation and visuals, but once again there isn't much for me to talk about here. Overall, I'd say the game looks exactly like something that was released in the arcades in the year 2000 and then ported straight to console with little to no upgrades. Don't get me wrong, I've seen worse games, but even for 2001, Arctic Thunder does look a little average, at least from a technical angle anyway. I do kind of enjoy the style of the game and the environments that feature. It's got everything from the White House to Swiss Alps and a haunted mansion. Does any of it make any sense? No, not at all, but honestly you'll be driving so fast and through so many explosions you'll barely notice your surroundings. If we're talking audio, then there is also nothing to shout about. It delivers that arcade sound of generic fast-paced looping soundtracks, low-quality sound effects like explosions, grunts and screams, and of course over the top of all of this is a cheesy-sounding announcer, which kind of just adds to the charm, so I'm not too bent out of shape about it. Arctic Thunder, even for its time, was a game of fairly low quality, and it hasn't aged gracefully either. If you came across this in the arcade back in the day, you and a friend would throw some change into the machine, have a few fun minutes and walk away. If you paid full price for this console version back then, you'd probably feel horrendously ripped off. Now we're in 2020 and this game can be picked up for next to nothing, so the amount of fun you'll get out of it compared to how much it will cost you has shifted greatly in its favour. So If by chance you see a copy, then maybe pick it up, and I'm fairly confident you'll have at least one afternoon's worth of fun.